What's going on here? Hi everyone, it's Tasha and welcome to another Wednesday recipe video. I'm going to put that back there because it's distracting me. And today we are making a Thai custard pumpkin, or in Thai, Sangkaya Phak Tong. Please excuse my pronunciation, I am a beginner. Timestamps are down below in the description if you want to skip the initial blah blah, but stick around if you want to hear a little bit about what we're making first. Now Sangkaya is the coconut custard that goes inside this pumpkin. Phak Tong is obviously pumpkin, and in this case we're going to be using a Japanese pumpkin, a kabocha. This may look really fancy, we are literally steaming a really rich creamy coconut custard inside a pumpkin, but it is really easy to make and with minimal ingredients. The only thing I would say is make this a day ahead, especially if you have a shallow steamer like mine and you have to bootleg an extra collar to make it higher to accommodate the height of the pumpkin, because then you're not really getting a really good steam seal and it will take a bit longer to cook, as you're going to see in this recipe video. Not only that, but if it takes longer to cook because you don't have a good enough steamer, it's going to take forever to cool down. Of all the recipes I've seen online, not one of them warns you about this. Listen, pumpkin is really dense. It holds on to heat for a long time. I finished making this recipe at 3 o'clock and at 9 o'clock it was still warm, and you absolutely have to let the finished pumpkin with the custard inside cool to room temperature in order to cut a clean slice, because then you know for sure that the custard is completely set. Thankfully, almost another hour later it was cool enough to put in the fridge, and then I opted just to chill it overnight. And a lot of people say actually it tastes better after being chilled, because then the sugars in the custard and the pumpkin get a chance to meld together. I tend to agree, because the next day it was super sweet and creamy. One last note, use full fat coconut milk. If you use a low fat one, it's going to be higher in water content and your custard isn't going to be as rich and it might split and curdle. You want those fats in it to create a smooth, creamy, even texture. So with all that said, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. First, we're going to make our pandan scented sweet coconut milk. Here I have 400 milliliters of full fat coconut milk, which happens to be the whole can. I've got 125 grams of palm sugar. This is the soft stuff that you get in the tub. You can also use the dry stuff. And here we have one pandan leaf. She's a bit floppier than usual because I like to buy them in bulk and then I wash them and freeze them, which makes them a bit floppy but still good. And I'm going to shred her, knot her, and put her, I don't know why I'm referring to her, in our coconut milk. Now I'm going to switch the heat on, and I'm just going to heat this up until all of the palm sugar has dissolved and our pandan leaf is nice and infused. So this should only take about 5 minutes, and we're going to stir it as well. I almost forgot, I'm also going to add a sprinkling of salt, just a pinch. And I'm just going to get rid of the pandan leaf because we don't need this anymore. And I'm just going to let this cool down completely. Now while that cools down, we're going to prepare our pumpkin. Here I have a relatively small one, and we're just going to, I'm going to score what I want to cut around first. Remember to be careful with your hands, and we're essentially going to cut a lid off the top, almost like we're preparing to carve a Halloween pumpkin. So we just need to get rid of the top. Now mind your hands when you do this. What I like to do is I like to score first and then dig in, and I do that all the way around. Oh, here we go. Oh, she wants to lift off, but the thing is, it's still attached on the insides with all the seeds, so we're just gonna run the knife around it one more time. Lovely. This is a kabocha squash, by the way. It's a Japanese pumpkin, and the skin's nice and thin, so actually when it's cooked you can eat the skin of a kabocha too. I'm just going to set the lid aside because this is still good pumpkin meat, so we are going to steam this with it, but it's not going to be part of the main dessert. And now what we need to do is scrape out the insides. And once we're done, we're just going to give this a rinse inside and out under some water, and then we're going to pat it dry. And we're going to dry the insides too, so there's no more water in there, because there's still probably quite a few bits in with that we haven't scraped completely out, and we just want to get rid of all the mess in there. Now that our coconut milk has cooled down, we're going to whisk in 6 eggs. Now here I've placed my now patted dry and clean pumpkin in my big steamer. This is a really big 30cm steamer, and I've got it on top of a wok with a little bit of water in there. This is going to take an hour to steam, by the way, so keep topping up the water as you go. You can just lift the steamer and pour it in the cracks. I've got the lids there, we're just going to eat that separately. And now we're going to pour our custard in the hole. I'm going to stop right there because the custard does puff up. You can steam this separately, by the way, after this is done in a bowl and just have the custard by itself. It goes really nice with sticky rice. As you can see, because my pumpkin is a little bit tall, I've had to create an extra collar around my steamer because it is shallow. But other than that, we're good to go. So I'm just going to pop this lid on and we're going to steam it for an hour. Not going to lie, that actually took me 1.5 hours because my little DIY setup wasn't the best. Obviously it did leak some steam, so it took a bit longer, but we are here. You can see how the custard has puffed up, so good job that we didn't fill it to the top. If we give it a shake, it jiggles very lightly, but it's basically solid. And now all we have to do is the hard part, and that's literally just letting it cool down. And it's the hard part because this smells delicious and it looks delicious, but cooling down is going to take a while, and we want this absolutely room temperature, so just let it cool. You might not believe this, but it's been about 5 hours and this pumpkin has only just come down to room temperature, and even then, barely. There's still a tiny bit of warmth to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with some cling film, and I'm going to chill it in the fridge overnight because apparently this tastes even better when chilled. Some people like it room temperature, but apparently it's very tasty when chilled and it's easier to cut too, so I'm just going to chill it overnight. If you're making this on the same day, then about 4 hours in the fridge will do. It's the next day, so let's slice some pumpkin. Beautiful. Take a look at these beauties. Absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? The custard is perfectly set because it jiggles. Let me demonstrate. How amazing is that? As you saw, when it cooled down, the custard shrank down a bit. To be honest, I prefer that over having it overflow. So I would recommend, like me, underfilling the pumpkin a bit of the custard before you steam it, because it is going to puff up. And if it puffs up and overflows, it's going to be a pain in the butt to clean your steamer, especially if you're using a bamboo one. Anyway, look at this. I shouldn't do that too much because I don't want the custard to separate from the pumpkin. Cheers. Nearly ate my own hair. Perfect, not too sweet, super creamy. The pumpkin itself has that natural sweetness. Oh, I didn't eat the skin. Let me prove to you can eat it. Lovely, it's also super soft. So there you go, Thai custard pumpkin. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video and I hope you will join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I'm tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too, I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. By the way, we're having another heat wave again, that's why I'm so shiny.